Hello everyone, I am pretty excited because we're going to be making a dessert recipe autoimmune compliant for a pumpkin spice cake. So obviously it's very festive and you could just imagine I'm going to be having this all of October and November. What you'll need to get started, it's relatively simple. You'll of course need our chicken bone broth as a substitute for gelatin in the recipe. You will need some pitted dates that are also soaked in warm water for 5 minutes. You will also need some cinnamon, sea salt. You'll need maple syrup, honey, vanilla extract, coconut oil. You're gonna need 3 cups of pumpkin puree, some grated ginger, as well as some arrowroot powder. So let's get started. To get started, we're gonna make the crust first in the food processor. And while you do this, you should be preheating the oven to 325. Okay, we're gonna need 3/4 cup of arrowroot powder. Then you're gonna wanna take your dates and put 1.5 cups in here. And we recommend a food processor because you still wanna feel some of the texture of the dates. Next, we're gonna want 2 tablespoons of the coconut oil, or you could use lard. Love coconut oil. We're gonna want 2 tablespoons of the maple syrup. If there's overflow, so be it. Who doesn't like maple syrup? 1/4 of a teaspoon of sea salt. I'm gonna add 1.5 teaspoons of grated ginger. I'm just gonna kind of guesstimate. The more ginger, the better. Okay, now we're gonna process this for about a minute until a thick and sticky texture forms. Now that we have a crust texture where you can see that there is some texture, we're gonna grease an 8x8 ideally pan with either lard or coconut oil. I'm gonna do coconut oil just because I love coconut oil, but this is something I would also do with the fat I make from my bone broth. Okay, now we're gonna take everything from the food processor and put it at the bottom of the pan. Now just pat this down and make it even before we put it in the oven. After it's evenly distributed, we're gonna put this in the oven for 18 to 20 minutes until you could stick a fork in it and nothing comes up. While the pie crust is baking, we're gonna take the rest of the ingredients and put it in a pan, and we're gonna simmer it on the stove top. So we're gonna need 3 cups of the pumpkin puree, and 3. You're gonna need 1 pouch of Beauty&theBroth chicken bone broth to substitute for the lard. Gonna need 1/2 cup of maple syrup, and just enough. 1.5 tablespoons of cinnamon. And that's about 1/2. 1/4 of a teaspoon of sea salt. Also gonna do 1/4 of a teaspoon of nutmeg or ground cumin. Whichever you prefer, I'm going for the nutmeg. On the stove top on medium to low heat for 5 to 10 minutes until this all completely liquefies. As you could probably see, our cake is out of the oven and we're just cooking the filling a bit more. In the meantime, we're gonna just quickly whip up the frosting so we can put it on top of the cake and put it in the fridge for 3 hours. So, first we will need 1/3 of a cup of arrowroot powder. We're gonna need 2 tablespoons of honey, as well as 2 tablespoons of coconut oil. And last but not least, we're gonna need a teaspoon of vanilla extract. This is actually only half. I'll give it a little more. And we're just gonna kind of blend this down. Our cake crust is done. We are gonna pour the filling or place it over it before we're gonna set it in the fridge. Wow, it smells truly delicious. And get this nice and even. Now we're gonna stick this in the fridge for 3 hours. And once it hardens some more, we will then add our frosting. And there you have it, our pumpkin spice cake. And I blended the frosting onto the top layer and actually kept it in the refrigerator overnight. Enjoy!